Alright, welcome back. We are playing Ironsworn. So, last we left, um, yeah, Ajla and Jurek were ending up in Rimerun after all of the stuff that they went through last time. And, yeah, Ajla gets to deal with the lore keeper she knows from a long, long time ago. And, we'll see how this turns out. So, um, I think I wanted to open up though with the night going through and staying in the inn in Rimerun before going to the actual tower of the lore keeper. So, unbeknownst to Ajla, she's thinking she's asleep, but of course, Vess had that little drop off in the evening with Jurek, but she didn't know anything about it. Her consciousness was fast asleep, and she's dreaming. She's in the bed, comfortable straw or grass-filled mattress in one of the bigger rooms in this inn. And she's starting to fall asleep, and she's thinking about Gylrikin, which is his name. Gylrikin the 10th, specifically. And she's thinking about when she had met him a long time ago, and she was so enamored of him telling stories and having that knowledge in the books that he had. And he was such a lonely soul back then. She felt sorry for him. And she, in her bright, young naivete, she doesn't even know anymore. She decided that she was going to try to help make him happy. And she decided that it would be fun to stay and settle in Rimerun for a while and help him tell stories. Learn new stories from his books, or, give him stories that he could write down from what she knew. But that wasn't the arrangement he wanted. He wanted someone to help him carry on the line and make the 11th and fill the tower with children. And that was not in the plan whatsoever. He was also isolated. The tower is located a little further away from the edge of the village, from the edge of the town. And she remembers specifically, or she was dreaming specifically of the time that she came home. The tower was dark. It wasn't even that late. He should have still been up. And she turned on, or I should say, she lit some lamps. She lit some torches to be able to read or relax after coming back from telling some stories. And he came into the room and he snuffed out every light. He knew she was there. He could see her sitting in the chair, and he watched her. He looked at her as he went round the room and snuffed out all of the lights. And she's dreaming about this, remembering this. And then she remembers the fight. When he made his request, his demand for her to stay and have children, his children, and stay in the tower and not go back down to Rimerun. There was nothing he could really do, because even after her reputation in her own village of being a brawler, there's nothing he was going to do about it. But there were certain things that he had in the tower that could make it very dangerous to stay if she didn't already suspect that he was going to be possibly a problem if he didn't like what she said. And she's remembering this. She hedged. She didn't say exactly. She didn't promise exactly that she was going to stay. She had the ring, and then she put it on the table, and she made as if to go into her room that evening and just see him the next day. But instead, she ran. She snuck out of the window. She escaped and never came back. But this dream was strange, because as she's reliving this memory and feeling all the things that she felt, she could see a woman outside of the window in this dream. It was dark when she had left in that long ago memory. And in this dream, she can see the woman, but not the distinct features. All she could see by moonlight was the woman's body and shadow, and then the glint of silver eyes. And she can feel herself running in this dream, coming out of the window and running away. And she looks back, and she still sees the woman, and she can see the woman's silhouette raising a hand in goodbye or good luck. And then Ajla wakes up in a sweat, almost forgetting where she was. And she sighs and then gets up to get ready to go to the tower. How was Jurek's night?
I think after encountering Vess, he made himself scarce, went to sleep, woke up early, as is his, he's less comfortable sleeping in even a crude bed than just on the ground. And yeah, I think he's kind of outside, just almost, just getting a lay of the land in this settlement that he hasn't been to for some time, and wasn't particularly familiar with when he has been here before.
Well, I imagine he wouldn't have stayed at the inn the last time that he was here.
Certainly not, no. Probably just passed through. And yeah.
Would he have known anybody here in Rimerun?
I dare say that there may have been members of his warband that it was their hometown. I mean, it's possible he even passed through and they were recruiting. So maybe people came with them from Rimerun.
As you're up, when you go outside, do you, I don't know, warm up, train? Do you remember doing anything like that? Or you're just kind of like outside, just looking around?
Yeah, I think kind of pacing a little. What's the word? Where there's this kind of caged up energy that
Mm-hmm.
um, restlessly. That's the
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot of kind of thought going into what he's doing. It's just kind of instinctive behavior. He's kind of, looking out for potential trouble, looking for where would you run to if some kind of trouble started. Where are the spots where you can see but can't be seen? Those kind of things. It's just his instinctive reaction to a new place or a newish place.
As you're up and you're pacing outside, or, you know, just kind of looking around, Gavros is actually up because he has to prepare things for um, getting ready for the day. And he hails you, and he's kind of he's a morning man, so it's quite bright and chipper comparably, I'm sure, to Jurek's waking up routine. And he's hailing you and saying, "Oh, did you need to take care of your horses? Did we need to see about feeding and watering this morning?"
Aye, that would be that would be appreciated.
He shows you where some of the equipment is. I imagine that we don't have didn't have anything extra like that with the horses when we got them, and he'll kind of help you with doing that if you want his help. I mean, there's 3 horses, so
Yeah, I also think you know Jurek can ride, but he's no horseman.
mm. Been a while since caring for beasts. You seem a little bit out of practice.
I was never much of a rider. Only beast I ever owned was a mule.
They're
They,
useful
they
in their
take
way.
they're useful, but they don't take the same kind of attention that a horse does.
True, true. Were you planning on selling them, or I mean, or you traveling with Miss Ajla for a while? Is that why you have these fine beasts?
Aye, we're not sure of our next destination yet, so maybe if we're not going too far, they might be for sale. But for now, I don't mind to hang on to them.
Well, I mean, I can provide some store for them at least for as long as you stay here. I mean, Miss Ajla's good people. We missed her in this time that we hadn't seen her. And he looks kind of pensive as he kind of curries down a horse, trying to brush it out, and has helped you set out the feed and the hay and the water. You known
Tell
Miss
me,
Ajla long?
just a few days. Feels like longer. Tell me, this man, looking up the name again. Sorry, I'm so bad for names.
Gylrikin.
Gylrikin
Aye, what you need to
doesn't
know.
seem like from what I gather, wasn't the best type of person.
He was one to keep to himself. Even more so after Miss Ajla left. Strange doings up there in the tower. And even stranger folk that be doing 'em with.
What kind of folk?
He gets a little closer to you as if he's trying to curry the horse's hindquarters a little bit more. But then he murmurs under his breath. Them's them folk that have the iron straps with the hoods. The Iron Priests.
Aye. So I've run across them a time or two myself. Fanatics.
They can be harmless in their own way. I mean, we've had a couple that have been quite strange in comparison to their fellows, but these that are here recently, they've been asking around and trying to get some information from the lore keeper. That's what Gylrikin is. And I'm not sure whether they've been getting what they want.
This was recently. Do you know what they were asking about?
The problem with someone that keeps to himself, is that he holds all the knowledge close to his chest. He's had some of the village women up helping him up in the tower. You might be able to get a little more information from them.
Might be able to try that, yes.
I mean, as far as I know, they're fine. But I don't like it. I don't mind my saying that to you, being new to here, to Rimerun.
I don't know if I like it or not myself, but I'd rather know what I'm walking into.
He was known long ago as a teller of tales, not the same way like Miss Ajla. Miss Ajla would bring, then he smiles, light into a room, even if the fire was as dim as embers. Gylrikin would bring... He was a serious sort. He'd bring one of those big books that he had, bring it down and make like it was the most interesting event that he would sit and read to us. And sometimes it was. Sometimes the tales were something of excitement and adventure. But there was always something, at least for me, I don't know about anybody else, but there was always something strange about them. Like underneath, there was always this sense of and this is where he just pauses and he just can't say it. He's trying to come up with the words. And all that can cross his face is just expressions of discomfort and confusion. Ugh, listen to me. I can't even. I can't even describe it. It's just, it's something you have to experience for yourself. I'm sorry. I'm just yammering on like an old fool. And he pats the horses' necks. They should be fine now. And again, like for as long as you stay. I mean, like I'll have some stores ready for them. As long as you come down, of course, and help me with them in the morning. Mute.
I don't expect you to just wait on me. Now, these women you said had been helping Gylrikin. Anyone in particular I should speak to?
Let me think on a moment. I think there was Lyria. Lyria is part of the general stores. She's a little bit further along in the village. You can see her there. And then there was, and this is then he pauses again, like he's trying to remember. Try Lyria first. If I can remember the others, I will let you know. Wait. Were you planning on visiting him? Today?
Aye, we need to speak to him.
Well, best be getting along then. I'm sure Lyria's probably opened up the general stores right now. She has to get ready as early as I do most days. Never know when travelers are going to come in and need something. Or, well, townsfolk too. So, yeah, try Lyria first. She might know the names of the others that have come, or, excuse me, gone to the tower and done whatever service he may require.
I'll do that. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. And then he goes off and continues on his day. Ajla makes her way slowly downstairs, fully awake, but still disturbed by what she dreamt and why. She's not actually prepared necessarily to deal with him again, deal with Gylrikin, but she remembers. I think Lyria has been in Rimerun as long as Gavros, if not a little bit longer, and remembers that she ran the general stores. And so she will make it a point of coming down in some of the clean clothes that she had gotten at the steading, but she feels that she needs to get something a little bit more, not fancy, but just formal, to make sure that Gylrikin knows that this is not a social call. She sees you if you've come back into the inn, Jurek, and she says, "That was a strange night. I hope you slept okay. I had, I think, a bad dream."
bad dream?
Partially a memory, I suppose. Or memories.
There are those that say dreams point to the future. Do you believe that?
Then that means I'm reliving my past. Although there was something in my dream that didn't seem to belong there, at least in the memories that I was reliving. So I don't know what that means with that saying. Would you consider me a coward if I said, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this? I know we have to ask him. I know we need this information. And still no telling whether he actually has anything that we can use or not. But he's the first person I thought of. But I don't want to see him again, Jurek.
I can understand that. It seems we should tread carefully anyway.
Why?
I was talking to your friend, and he says Gylrikin's been dealing with the Iron Priests. They've been asking questions. Now, I don't know if this has anything to do with us, but like I said to him, I'd rather know what I'm walking into before I walk into it.
Understood.
I'm going to go have a conversation with a woman that has been doing some work for Gylrikin. See if she can enlighten me as to what's been discussed.
Did he say a name? Again, the magic of editing, so I can either put it in chat or we can... There we go.
So bad.
That's funny. Hold on. Let me start putting names into the chat, and I will edit this stuff out.
It's in the dog.
Not everything goes into the podcast. And when I figure out how to video edit, it's like, you know, the videos will be much shorter too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Okay, so those are the ones that we know about so far.
Lyria.
Lyria. And yeah. So when you mention Lyria's name, then Ajla will blink a little and go, yes, I remember Lyria. She ran the general stores where they can, well, anyone can pick up different items, and I mean she serves the whole town, and she gets supply in regularly. So whereas Gavros deals with people passing through, Lyria deals with people looking for items, things that they need. Wait, Gavros said that Gylrikin's been dealing with Lyria?
That's what he told me, that she's been up to his tower and doing some kind of work for him.
She's been up to the tower. I wonder how long that's been going on. But then again...
Oh, you think it's that kind of work?
I don't know. I mean... Gylrikin wanted to stay isolated, but he would, again, he would come down to the village. He would do the readings, and he would come and get his own supplies. For the fact he's having people come up to the tower is strange. He's very mysterious and secretive about the tower, at least when I knew him. There really wasn't that much mysterious and secretive about it. I think he just didn't want a lot of people messing up his space, his home, which now that I think about it, it was just his home. So I don't know why I feel strange about it still. Visiting the tower itself. It shouldn't be a problem.
That's a bigger home than anyone I've ever known has had.
I'm sorry?
That's a bigger home than anyone I've ever known has had.
Yeah, well, again, it's a tower. So
I don't think I've ever
stairs.
spoken with anyone who has even been in a building with more than one floor, never mind a tower.
So this must have been quite the special experience for you then. Being here at the inn.
I guess it's not what I'm used to.
Well, again, Gavros keeps a good table and drink, and physically it was comfortable. So I hope you had the same experience. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I need something at Lyria's anyway, so we can go there and then hopefully I'll be able to find what I need, and then we can ask her about what's been going on. It's been quite a long time, and maybe I'm just imagining things. Because I never thought I would ever be coming back here.
Would it trouble you if there was something between them?
No. I don't understand why I'm having hesitation about it. There's just something about my past experience with him that just makes me wonder whether it's been a good change or if it's been something that maybe it was me misremembering things. That's why I asked if you thought I was a coward for not wanting to go back.
Don't be hard on yourself. I know how to swing a sword, but people are the hardest thing to deal with. Never been much good at that.
I guess when you have people that are on the other end of your sword, then you don't worry about it that much.
That type of thing always came easy enough to me, yes.
Whereas I've always been able to tell stories and bring people into the story, but it still keeps a slight distance between them and me. I guess this was one of my first experiences of bringing someone into my story and then feeling like so melodramatic, feeling like being betrayed in one's own story. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely misremembering. So, anyway, let's go ahead and see Lyria and see what she has to say. And then we would go across town a little bit. I think when we do, though, I think we could, let me see. Looking at moves here. I think we can either try to roll for a gather information to see if there's any current signs of the Iron Priest or if they have left. What do you think?
I think that makes sense, yeah. So this would be with
Wits.
Yeah, wits or shadow, depending on how, if you're trying to be sneaky about it. But yeah, I think wits makes sense.
I mean, we can both do it, and I could do wits, and then you can do shadow. I mean, so when I say shadow, I mean, like, you could use your observation, I would say, like looking but not looking like you're looking, to be able to observe certain details that maybe look out of place or, oops, like we do see signs of them. So, yeah, we can do that. I mean, like, each do it in our own way. So I'm going to roll wits and then you can roll shadow and then see what we get,
Okay.
Okay, so, goody, pull out the die.
Well, I managed a strong hit.
Okay.
6 versus a 5 and a 4.
All right, let's see. Well, poo. Of course. A 6 versus a 6 and an 8. So, weak hit. Information complicates your quest.
That's a miss if you're equal to the...
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Okay, never mind. Okay. Unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. We got this the last time, and we sort of denied it. Now we can't. Okay, great. Let's pay the price. I did ask for this. I really did, and I'm thinking the dice were hearing me when I started talking. Okay. Choose one. Make the most obvious negative outcome happen. Oh boy. I mean, there's just so many things. I'm just going to roll on the following table because I have no idea. 54. It causes a delay or puts you at a disadvantage. I can think of a disadvantage, but I'm not sure how it would get worked into the story. The disadvantage being that he knows that we're here, but we don't know that he knows. That's an idea. You can totally say that's full of shit if you want. I mean, that's perfectly
I
fine.
think that's good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that works.
Yep. Not for us, but works out for the fiction. You got what? You got a strong hit?
I got a strong hit. Yeah.
Awesome.
Move. Sorry, I don't have the rule book open. So on a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. Path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is clear. Envision what you learn. Ask the Oracle of Unsure and take +2 momentum. My momentum is unfortunately already a maximum, so I can't take any.
Oh shoot. Okay, so let's see. Something helpful and specific.
So if we're looking for signs of the Iron Priest, that's going to be, if it's helpful and specific, that's either evidence that they're not there or evidence that they are.
Mm-hmm. I leave it up to you. Like, what do you think? If you think
It's
they're
got
still
it.
hanging because
It's not necessarily the same ones that were talking to him, but yeah, I think my take on that is that especially if I'm rolling with shadow, that
mm-hmm.
I kind of find some,
Okay,
or see some
yeah,
in the town.
I think as we're making our way to Lyria's, I think you spot them, and then you're like, not get down, but I mean like like kind of not be out in the open, seeing them. Like where do you? This is still morning, like as we're making our way over to Lyria's. I mean, where do you think we see them?
I think we see them riding down the kind of central street of the town,
Mm-hmm.
and Jurek will kind of push Ajla back and say, "Keep that sword under wraps. I don't know if those might be looking for us, but better safe than sorry."
She unslings it and then tries to hide it underneath the cloak, the hooded cloak that she got from the horse. Okay, where do you think they're going?
I couldn't guess. There's any number of reasons they could be here. It might be nothing to do with us, but either way, I'd rather they didn't see us.
And Ajla will pull the hood from the cloak like a little bit more over her face, just in case anybody remembers from that wonderful bonfire.
Yes. I wonder if we are, at this point, are we facing danger?
I mean, you want to roll for it? I'm always game.
It feels like we are, right? So
Sure,
with
sure.
with shadow, because we're trying to use stealth. So not
Stealthy.
stealth, but subtlety.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I rolled an 8 versus a 6 and a 1.
Okay, all right.
So I'm on fire today. I shouldn't say that because
What?
I'll now curse myself.
Why do you do that? Stop doing that.
On a strong hit, you're successful. Take +1 momentum. Okay, so I think my interpretation of that is they do not see us. Like
Okay.
I push you back quickly enough, and they pass by.
Right. We just look like some passerby in
Yeah,
the street. It's
exactly.
fine.
We just look like,
Everybody else has hoods on or whatever because
hmm,
it's,
yeah,
chilly.
drizzly, it's chilly,
Sure,
it's overcast.
sure.
Yeah.
I
I
wish
do
there was
not
a,
picture the Ironlands having wonderful weather.
yeah. Um, I wish that there was a mechanic that allows you to, can you pass along the momentum to your partner,
Right?
to a fellow
You well,
person?
you have six.
Do I? I don't remember.
Yeah, you do.
Oh,
Yeah, according to this.
okay. But I mean, like
Yeah,
again, it's like it just feels like we're earning it, but we're not able to use it because it's kind of
yeah.
like
No, I need
stray
to use it more.
points. Well,
Yeah, I need to use it more. It's one of those things that kind of it's pretty easy come, easy go. I don't think you should be shy about using it because it's relatively easy to build it back up again.
sure. Um, but I mean, again, you have to have a score. You have to have a momentum score that is the same or beats the
Yeah, let
die
me
that you're
just
trying to cover, right? I mean, like so.
right.
If,
You can burning momentum. Um, yeah,
like
so
if
if it has to be higher,
okay, so in a
yeah,
way,
you can cancel any challenge dice that are less than your current momentum value. So
yeah.
in other words,
So
if they're both lower, you can turn a miss into a strong hit.
okay,
Um,
but I mean, again, it's like if I'm facing an 8 on the challenge
yeah,
die,
right. That's
then
I
I
mean the dice
can't
can
burn
still
it
go
because it's
against
not
you.
going to do
Yeah,
anything. All right.
yeah, and like with a even with a 10, there's a chance you can not be able to do anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you roll a 10 on the challenge dice, you can't cancel that because it has to be less.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
um, that seems like like a high penalty, but okay, I get it because die rolls.
Effectively, it's effectively you're replacing your action score with the momentum score.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But even then, it just feels like a match is a miss. So it's like, dang it.
Yeah.
That seems like still a high penalty to me, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just me. Okay, so we at least avoid seeing, um, or we avoid them seeing us. So that's good. And then we head down and then get to Lyria's. And it's you know, where the inn is again made for people to come through. Lyria's is just a big square, a big box, and has a very large main entrance for people to come through and then see what she has in stock. And we go in, and again, it's like full of shelving, and then maybe there are wares behind the counter. Maybe there's like actual clothing and such nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's starting to be a little busy because again, some of the people that are up early are the ones that are going to be trying to get you know, their stuff done for the day. And we see whom Ajla recognizes as Lyria, a tall, plump, but in an attractive way built woman with like gray brown hair and very bright blue eyes. And she's behind the counter and she's just bustling around and putting things together and serving the customers that are going to her. And Ajla's eye is caught by some embroidered shirt in the corner. And she goes over to look at that um, while Lyria is serving other customers. Are you looking for anything, or are you just going to stand there and wait to see when Lyria is available?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Just making myself inconspicuous to some extent.
Hmm. I mean, everybody's got like their cloaks on and hoods up and whatever, but yeah, I mean, eventually Lyria will be free and then you can go up and talk to her. And she turns around and then sees you, Jurek, and then she's, newcomer. How are you?
I'm well. Just passing through.
I'm Lyria. See anything that you need?
As it happens, I find myself pretty well stocked at the moment, but I'm in town to speak to a man named Gylrikin. And my friend Gavros said you maybe did some work for him. I'm curious what type of work that might be.
Gylrikin's a strange sort.
That's what I've heard.
I mean, shouldn't speak ill of someone who's around. You never know who might be listening. She still has a bright look in her eye, but her mouth kind of thins into a line.
I wondered the same thing myself, if someone might be interested in me asking questions.
What brings you by, stranger?
Well, I was hoping to get Gylrikin's advice on something, but seeing as I don't know the gentleman myself, I thought I'd best find out a little about him from those as do before I approach him.
Oh, no one really knows him. He tends to stay up in his tower more often than not. I don't
So
even
I've
know.
heard.
I don't even know the last time he actually did come down into town. He used to read to, well, the townsfolk. Stories from those books of his. But, he hasn't been doing that anymore. For quite a long time, I don't think.
What does he do?
He reads through those books of his.
A scholar.
Of a sort. He doesn't study, per se. He researches. And I think he depends more on people to come and ask him a thing or two of what he knows, rather than him going off and asking other people. Again, he doesn't leave that tower much.
Well, after all, that is why I'm here.
I didn't think he had a reputation outside of Rimerun, but other folks seem to be asking him questions these days.
Is that right? Other folks? What other folks might that be?
Thems that got the iron on their chests, and I'm not talking about the warriors.
I think I just saw two of their sort outside a few moments ago.
Yes, Seems they might have some business with Gylrikin. I
Any idea
find
what
them
type of business?
strange. I'm sorry?
Any idea what type of business?
Again, Gylrikin is a lore keeper. They might be in the business of some lore that they need to know.
But you wouldn't know any more than that, huh?
He has some of us come up to the tower to see to his needs, keep him fed, possibly clean every once in a while, although not sure how that works out among all those books. But some of the village women do all right by going up there every now and again. And she just kind of has this look on her face of wanting to tell you something, but not.
It looks like there's something you're not sure if you should tell me. Shall I roll a compel here?
If you want to, sure.
Let's just see whether she trusts me enough.
She just met you.
Yeah, but if I'm coming across as a trustworthy sort.
Or an intimidating sort. Depends.
Good, but yeah, I'm not trying to intimidate her, so I'm going to go with rolling with heart here.
Okay.
Because it says, yeah, if you're threatening or inciting, roll with iron. If you're lying or swindling, roll with shadow.
Right.
I think I'm going hard.
Yeah.
And that is not a good result. That's going to be a 3 versus a 7 and a 10.
Oh my god. What's the miss on this?
It is, but I could always burn momentum. Let's see what the miss result is. On a miss, they refuse or make a demand, which costs you greatly. On a weak hit, which I could turn it into,
as a bug,
they ask you something of you in return. I'm going to do that. I'm going to burn momentum.
Okay.
And so that becomes a weak hit. So I'm going to take +1 momentum.
Okay.
If you use this exchange to gather information, make that move now and add +1.
Okay. A plus.
But she's going to want something in return.
Right. Think.
Should we take a break for a couple of minutes and give us a chance to think about that? And
absolutely. So let's go ahead and do. I mean, in this case, let's do 10. So for me, that's like the 17 mark.
Yep.
Okay.
Works for me.
Alrighty, great. See you in 10. Alright, so Jurek has, just as a review, Jurek has bumped up his roll with momentum burned to... Now, did we do that, or was... Now I'm confused, because it's like I can't really go back into the recording until it actually...
Yeah.
Yeah,
finishes. that got him from a miss to a weak hit.
Okay. So this is like...
the compel move, which was like trying to convince her to tell him what it was she kind of wasn't saying about the...
Right.
There was that sense that she was trying to tell him something, but it wasn't.
And then she'll say to you, maybe your being new here will help.
Help with what?
You're going to go up to Gylrikin, aren't you?
I need to speak to him.
Well, all I can tell you is that anyone that's been going up there to help out, or to do whatever service, we all seem to be developing bad memories about it. And I don't mean bad memories. I mean, we don't remember exactly what all went up there every single time. He has
This,
not been down in the village for quite some time.
this Gylrikin, is he a sorcerer of some kind?
We didn't think so. I mean, he would just come down and tell stories. Kind of like, well, we had someone that used to tell us stories. And at this point, I think Ajla will come out from the corner where she was looking at that embroidered shirt. And she'll keep her hood on, but she'll shyly bring it up and say, I think I'd like to see if I can purchase this. And her eyes raise from just looking down at the shirt and then look at Lyria fully on. Hello, Lyria. I don't know if you remember me. And then Lyria's eyes widen in surprise. Miss Ajla! What are you doing here? And then, out of the blue, she gives Ajla a big hug. She's taller than Ajla and just embraces her with such vigor. And Ajla's surprised. She gives Jurek a look like, I wasn't expecting this whatsoever. And I guess you do remember me. Yes, I'm here to ask Gylrikin a question. Oh, Miss Ajla. Things haven't been right, well, since a little bit after you left. And Ajla will say, has he gotten more strange then? And Lyria just gives her a look like, depends on your definition of strange. Are you with him? And then she gestures to you, Jurek. I mean, this fella here wants to go talk to Gylrikin as well. And Ajla will turn to her and say, yes, Jurek is helping me. Yeah. Lyria will turn to you, Jurek, and say, well, if I had known you were going to be asking a question on her behalf, I mean, might have been a little bit more cooperative, I suppose. But if you two can find out what's been going on, why we've been forgetful for some reason, then we can, I guess, make peace with it. If it's something, well, I can't say it would be necessarily benign, but if you could find out for us what is going on, we would really appreciate it.
What do you think, Ajla? Is this Gylrikin? Is there something you're not telling me about him?
I don't think so. I mean, I can only speak from my experience, Jurek. I can't say for what's been happening. this long time since. She turns to Lyria and will make her purchase of this shirt, and she will actually go into Lyria's back room and then put it on. Comes out. It's much fancier than anything that you've ever seen, Jurek. It's something that is ornate, but not ridiculous. It's not ostentatious. It is something that is made to look regal and somehow fits Ajla very well, and gives her a bit of a straighter countenance, so this way she's not as beat down as she's possibly been looking, especially after a disturbed night of sleep. And she says to Lyria, "Thank you. I know it sounds or seems ridiculous, but I did not want to go up there to the tower and look like I had not made good for myself, thereby proving him right."
I think Jurek has kind of a smile at the side of his mouth. He suspected something like that, but
I'm ready to go, Jurek. We can head up to the tower.
we might as well not waste any more time. I don't want to be, after seeing those iron priests, I don't want to be in this village any longer than we need to be.
Understood. And then Lyria will pipe up. I think the Iron Priests have been waiting for some sort of answer from Gylrikin.
Do you know what they're asking him about?
If it wasn't for this feeling of forgetting things, I think I would know. But they're tight-lipped when they come in here. And again, unfortunately, I don't remember. And she clasps Ajla's hands in her own. Good luck, Miss Ajla. I know it was difficult then. And I hope that you can make peace with it now. Whatever that means. She turns to you, Jurek, and says, "Yeah, I think let's go up and face my past."
I think it might make sense to leave the sword here, if you can.
I mean, do you think it'll be safe?
Leave it with Gavros.
Okay, I mean, if you think it's a good idea.
Unless you plan to show it to Gylrikin. I'm just worried that if he's been dealing with these iron priests and they're up there, we might be getting ourselves in over our heads. But if you wanted to take a look, then let's take it with us.
I mean, we can just as easily tell him a story about any sword. I mean, use your sword as an example, but it's not telling the story. Although. And then she trails off. Let's head up to the tower. I want to run an idea past you, Jurek.
Lead the way.
The tower is further than the edge of town. Just enough that it's a bit of a hike, but not so far that it requires a day's journey or anything like that. Nothing ridiculous. You see it as you make your way through the village, the town. You see this white tower cresting above the buildings in the distance. And then you see it when you reach the field on the edge of town, a ways away, but still brightly there. Shining tower. By the time you reach it, it's about dusk. And instead of looking white, it's looking at the oranges and the yellows of the setting sun. And then it has a curved door, wooden door, solid, and really nothing else discernible from where you are. There looks to be windows, shuttered windows, throughout the height of the tower, but in no actual pattern. And it looks strange to you, even for something like this. What detail do you notice, Jurek, that gives you a sense of eeriness?
I think just the smoothness of their outer surface. It's not, something you ever see in this world. Every buildings are made of wood, mud, and they're either like drywall stone or mortared stone. So to see something with this kind of smooth, finished surface is very unusual, and it's almost like one of those things that I think Jurek can't quite put his finger on what is weird about it, but that's what it is.
I mean, you see Ajla next to you give a discernible shudder as she nears the door. She does bring the sword with her, but not slung on her back as if she's experienced using it, just kind of at her side. And her hand hesitates to reach up and knock on the door, and the door knocker of a sort is a ring, an iron ring that looks like it has some sort of iron creature hanging off of it. Still there. I used to call this imp.
Looks like something a warrior would paint on their shield.
He's no warrior. And she reaches up and taps it 3 times. It doesn't... Go ahead.
A bit of devilry to scare off would-be visitors.
As you say that, and she knocks using the knocker, you don't hear the sound of it against the wood. What you hear is echoed behind the door, through the tower, and through some of the open windows.
I think Jurek looks pretty uncomfortable waiting.
And the door opens. And inside, we see a darkened hall. Not much light in it. I mean, maybe some candles lit within some recesses or torches. It's not that deep. Well, I should say it's deep enough to have a wide room on this bottom floor. And again, we just see these flickering pools of light from the torchlight. And beyond the doorway that opened, we see the shadow of a figure. It's tall, probably as tall as you, Jurek. And it's wearing robes, like a long tunic, like pants and boots, but I mean kind of like what you'd expect somebody who doesn't leave their home to wear. At least these days. And we don't see a face just yet, but from what you can see of the body, it's a slim body, but in a flabby way underneath the robes / tunic, and a voice issues from the shadows. Huh. Didn't expect to see you ever again. And Ajla sighs. And I never expected to be here again. So we're even. May we come in? The door opens a little wider. The light shines in a little bit from the sunset. And you see a pale face with honey brown whiskers, like a barely there mustache, and like a hint of a goatee, and then like disheveled honey brown hair. And then the face underneath the hair is a long nose, small eyes, and bushy eyebrows. And they're kind of like in a frown to almost shade his eyes. What are you here for? And Ajla is looking like she's trying to keep her face schooled in a neutral expression and having difficulty.
I think Jurek is kind of standing back, letting her lead the way, because he doesn't know what to, how to, if he's going to put his foot in it by opening his mouth at this point.
She doesn't look at you, Jurek. She will look straight at presumably Gylrikin and say, I need your help, knowledge, if you have it. And he just looks surprised, like this is the last thing that he would have ever expected her to say. And then he gestures that you both can come in, although he does give you a curious look there, Jurek. And as he's leading the way to some other room in this place, he sort of looks at you again and says, I know her. Who are you?
The name's Jurek. You must be Gylrikin.
I am. Do you have a question too, or is it the same one that she's going to ask?
I'm here with Ajla.
As he shows you into a back room, he looks at you again more pointedly and says, Are you? And then he looks back at her and says, So this is how you've been spending your time? She keeps her jaw tight when she says, Not that it's any of your business, but Jurek is a friend who is helping me with this that I have to ask you. He gestures to some chairs that are in this room. You see this room is, again, lit by candles and torches, like spread haphazardly around. And in this room are books. Some of them open, some of them askew, some of them new looking, if that's possible, but yet not cracked open. And they're all over the place, among the furniture, among the shelving, and then on the floor even, in no discernible order. And he takes a seat on a bench that's across from you when you settle in these chairs. And then he kind of gets this look on his face of almost smug satisfaction. Well, I'd love to hear what brings you by after 19 years away. That's so important that you think that I would help you. I'm not saying that it's going to be something that you're going to want to help us with, but I know you always appreciated the challenge of seeing if there's a story you know. And this is where she brings out the sword. This is what I needed to find out about. And she will take it by the hilt, hold the sheath in the other hand, and then pull it out. And it is a gleaming blade. There's nothing really noticeable necessarily about the hilt that makes it like different or designed or ornate, but when she pulls it out, you realize that it's longer than a usual sword, but it looks like it's broken. like the tip is broken off. But that's on purpose. It's not like it has been broken. And then she'll explain a little bit of how she came to it to Gylrikin, leaving out the part about it being bonded to her. She will not say anything about what she's seen since. And she'll just tell him, and people are after me because of this. I can't just leave it be. I need to know if there's a way to break this binding so I don't have to worry about this sword anymore. And he kind of sits there with his elbow on his knee and just contemplates the sword, contemplates her, maybe shooting a scant glance at you, Jurek. I mean, there's nothing really discernible about this except for the broken tip, which is not broken. Is there anything else you can tell me about this? She'll kind of give you a side eye, Jurek. No, there's nothing else about this. All I know is that these people are trying to chase me down because of it. And I need to know if there's a way that I can break this from following me or coming back to me somehow. He snorts. Well, I suppose I can look through some of my weapon lore and see if there's anything I can find out for you. It will take at least a day. If not a complete cycle. And she just looks at him and says, I did tell you once that you depended way too much on looking at these books. If you knew some of them by heart. Oh, wait. That requires you to have one. And she actually stands up and then looks away from him. He turns his attention to you, Jurek. She's quite quick with a word, isn't she?
Quicker than me, that's for sure.
Are you her bodyguard? Or something else?
Bodyguard's close enough.
Again, it's going to take a day or so to look through my books. I can let you stay here, if you so choose.
I'm not sure that's for the best. We can come back.
You'll have to leave the sword here, then. I need to compare it to my illustrations in the books.
Take a drawing of it now. We're not leaving it here.
He narrows his eyes at you, Jurek. I read. I research. I don't draw. Leave the sword here. Or stay.
Jurek will glance toward Ajla, and give a kind of small shake of his head.
Gylrikin, we cannot leave the sword here. And I don't think it's a good idea that we stay. We are also not prepared to stay. And he waves that away and he says, it's not like I don't have supplies here. Sometimes the village folk who come and help me will stay overnight. Their supplies are here, if you need them.
Like Ajla said, there are men looking for us. Could be they're looking for this sword. You keep us here, you keep the sword here, you're putting yourself in danger.
Oh.
We would spare you that.
Oh, you mean the Iron Priests? They're looking for information, but they're not going to find it here.
What is it they're looking for?
He doesn't say anything right away. He just keeps his head in his hand, looking at you, Jurek, measuring you. Well, that's their business, isn't it? Not yours.
And the sword's our business, not theirs.
They have questions, I have questions. You obviously have a big question. I mean, I guess we're a bit of an impasse. And she never answered why, or why I should do this for her. Looking over at Ajla. She's not looking back at him as he's saying this. But I think you can tell from her body language, Jurek, that she's not gonna back down. And she go ahead.
I was going to say, I think at this point, another figure enters the room. It's a woman. Tall, with kind of ashen blonde hair. And she wears on her head a kind of a headdress made of the skull of an animal. And there are feathers decorating the fringes of it. And she's wearing some kind of ornate jewelry. She says, Gylrikin, are you going to introduce me to your guests?
Ajla will swing around and look at her. I guess you have a guest, or a partner, I guess.
I'm Kalida. And you are?
I'm Ajla. This is my friend Jurek. We came to ask Gylrikin a question.
And you have brought this sword?
Yes? Ajla looks at Kalida very warily. And he wants us to leave it here. and go along our way until he has an answer.
I think that would be best, don't you?
And Ajla will smile and say, "No, I don't think so. Do you help Gylrikin with his research?"
I think she arches an eyebrow and says, I advise him on matters to do with the arcane arts.
And she looks at Gylrikin with a genuine look of surprise. "This is different? I didn't realize you studied and dabbled in that. I thought you just read stories. But then again, I guess I've been gone for a while." And he just shoots her a look. If looks could kill, that would be one of them. "Yes, you have been gone for a while. And maybe I've gotten some company." And then he sidles up to Kalida and puts a hand around her waist. Asha just kind of holds her ground and says, "We're not leaving the sword here. I mean, you can tell me that you don't have an answer, and I'll be fine with that. It was enough just to see you and not realize that I didn't need to. I'm happy to be going on our way."
And Jurek will step kind of protectively between Ajla and the pair of them as she picks up the sword.
I make the offer again. You are welcome to stay while I do my research.
We won't be far. We'll come call on you again. And perhaps you'll have an answer for us.
Jurek, we're not leaving the sword here.
No, we're not. He has enough to go on. He's seen the inscription on the blade. He's seen the shape of the blade.
Inscription? What inscription? Remember, she saw it. You saw it. Well, you know there's writing on it, but you can't read it. What is this inscription you're talking about? Ajla makes to say something, but then doesn't. And then says, looking at the both of them, "An inscription appeared when I accidentally got cut by the blade. And I'm not going to volunteer to get cut again, just so you can see it." Come on, Jurek. I think we're done here for now. Or maybe forever. And then she makes to leave.
I think, yeah, Kalida and Jurek don't make any move to prevent them, but there's kind of a wry smile on Kalida's face, a knowing smile.
I think we're able to get out the door. I think we're able to leave. But as we make our way down towards the village, I think we start to forget. We start to remember seeing Gylrikin, and then like some of the byplay between the two of us, but nothing after Kalida, and well,
even before she did, yeah.
Even before
nothing
she
about
did.
her at all, yeah.
Nothing about Kalida at all. We don't remember. And then we make our way back down to the village, to the inn. And then Gavros looks at us quizzically when he sets out another meal for us. And tries to see if we found out anything or we know anything. And we are all, I think, at dinner just kind of looking at each other like, we know we went up there. We know we talked to him. But we come away with this nebulous thought of like not really finding out anything. And then I think we do the same thing. We settle in, we have some drinks, and then Ajla will go back up to the room, having paid Gavros and some of the coin that we had gathered from other places. And then she'll drift off to sleep. But as she's drifting off to sleep, she's realizing that she's remembering what she saw in the tower. Some difference, not much difference, but she knows that something was there. And then as she's drifting to sleep, she sees the woman again in the shadows, the glint of a silver gaze, and then again the woman raising a hand in greeting before she slips into unconsciousness. Jurek, are you doing the same thing that you did the other night, which is by the fire again?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that's his habit.
Because I think a few minutes after Ajla gets settled in upstairs and then starts to drift off to sleep, a few minutes after that, she comes down again. And you know. You definitely know that Vess is looking out at you with her silver eyes. And looking actually not happy, but just like she's a cat that got a treat, with very, very wide smile on her face. And she says
I've
to
been waiting
you,
for you.
I wonder why.
I have a question or two to ask.
Oh, that's new. Usually you look like you'd rather see the back of me. It's quite attractive back, I'm sure. What would you like to ask me, Jurek?
Ajla and I were up at Gylrikin's tower earlier today, and it's the oddest thing. I remember arriving. I remember Gylrikin. I don't remember much else. I'm curious. If you were in that blade, I'm curious if you saw anything, felt anything, heard anything.
That wide smile stays on her face, and she looks very pleased to be asked. She'll look at you, and as per usual, she will drape herself on the chair, on the armrest, next to you, very close to you. And as she's whispering to you, she's like playing with your hair. There was a lot that happened there. Do you know what kind of person Gylrikin is, Jurek?
Not one I like very much.
Yes, I don't like him either. But there's specific reasons why. Maybe someday Ajla will tell you about them. But from what I saw, there's someone else in charge. Possibly. Or they may be working together. Either way, yes, he's not the nicest individual. You don't remember Kalida?
Kalida?
There was a woman there.
I didn't see any woman.
Interesting. Yes. There was a woman there. She came in, and she agreed with Gylrikin's idea to leave the sword there. I don't think they knew exactly why you wouldn't be able to do that. Although it would probably be quite funny if you tried.
Funny?
I think you saw. You can't separate Ajla from the blade. You can't separate me from the blade for too long. It will always find her. Would have been interesting to see how long I would have stayed if you had left me there. But I'm glad you didn't. Do you think he knows?
I think he knows more than he's telling us.
For his sake, he should. But if he doesn't, and he's lying, I think I can take care of that. What I'm worried about, though, is you not remembering this woman that was there. She's with him. She lives there. Her scent is all over that tower.
I'm not much for using my nose for detecting that kind of thing. The smell of a fire, or the smell of some roasting meat. But I can't say I noticed any unusual smell there.
Not an actual smell, Jurek. There's something about this woman to explain that why you didn't see her or remember her. I think Gylrikin has gotten himself into a bit of trouble. I don't think he knows who he has there in his tower.
A witch?
Possibly. They have a scent all their own. It would just be so easy to slit his throat for some of the things that I saw in Ajla's memory. But I guess you wouldn't get any information about, well, me, if I did, would you?
I'll happily slit his throat after he tells us what he knows.
But is it really what you want to know? That's the question. Are you sure you wouldn't like to feel something, Jurek?
Like I said before, that's not really for you to offer, is it?
And like I said before, she's been without company for quite some time. But I understand your hesitation.
It's not so much hesitation as refusal.
So loyal. I wonder if you were like this when you were younger. More risk-taking. More living of life. Or taking of life.
I did my share of that, that's for sure.
Being so close to death makes you enjoy it that much more. And all the things that come with it.
That's one way of looking at it. I think it makes a man desperate for anything to take his mind off what he's been doing, what's been happening around him. If you want to call that appreciating life, then
I guess you aren't a hardened warrior after all this time, after all.
I don't think Jurek's kind of rise to the bait of a comment like that. He just kind of looks at her steadily.
You seem like a man that would have taken what he wanted. Are you broken?
I've been broken. Maybe trying to put those pieces back together again.
Maybe you should go back to doing what you enjoyed. Finding that all of the pieces back together again. Becoming whole.
I said I was good at it. I never said I enjoyed it.
Interesting. You are a puzzle, Jurek. Well, if you don't want to play, at least that way, what do you think we should do about this Gylrikin and Kalida? Or actually, my question would be, do you really think that he or they would tell you the truth?
That remains to be seen. I don't trust them, put it that way. Especially this witch you said was there that I don't remember.
It is a mystery. I shouldn't even be helping you all. I mean, you could be finding out about the secret to the binding, or where to go next, or what to do about it. But I find it amusing that you're going to try.
Well, would you rather be with us or with this witch?
You see Ajla's face school into an expression of actually thinking about it. Those silver eyes looking up and over. Can't read a sorceress. I smelled her. I knew she was there. I don't know what she wants. The Blade Pact. The Blade Pact wanted to bring me back. That is their goal. That is their mission. They've been tasked with that for centuries. Although I'm not sure if that much time has passed. And these others that were trying to take the blade. These iron priests. I don't know what they want. And I don't know what this witch or this sorceress wants. She would have no use for a blade. At least, not for herself.
She might have use for a wielder of a blade.
Gylrikin? He doesn't look like he could even lift one of his books.
No. I wasn't thinking of him.
Who?
Well, I don't know, but if she gets in possession of the blade, maybe she has someone in mind. Maybe she'll find someone then.
I don't think she knows about me, though.
Well, if you can remember seeing her, it seems not.
When Ajla goes to sleep, and if she is starting to dream, I can pass her in consciousness. She goes in, I come out. Think on that for a little bit, Jurek. There might be a point that we may actually be able to talk to each other.
I think at that there's a ghost of a smile on his lips. You may be onto something there.
If she listens hard enough, she can actually hear me while she's awake. I might be able to help her when she's conscious. Let her know. I will be around, Jurek. And I intend on being around for a very, very long time. She says this as she's pressing a little closer to you and whispers that last part in your ear.
Good point to break off.
Yeah, I'd say so. I would almost, I don't know if you want to consider it this way, but I mean, you could almost call it a weird forging of a bond.
Right. Oh, that's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. Or the start of it, anyway.
Yes.
I don't know if we're quite there yet, but yeah.
Right.
Okay. I gotta run because
Okay.
I need to go make some dinner.
Okay.
Everyone. But it has been a pleasure as always.
As always. Thank you. Yeah, this got way more convoluted than expected.
That's good though. I think that's good to take a little break in the middle and like figure out some puzzle pieces and all of that, because I think we ended up better for it. I really enjoyed the whole bit in the tower. That was
Yeah.
The dynamic there was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I think the introduction of Kalida is that's pretty promising.
That was cool. That was awesome. That what you did. So can't wait to see what we come up with, because I don't know where this is going, and it's fun. It's fun to contemplate. So you have a great evening making dinner.
You too.
Thank you.
And speak to you. Yeah.
Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.
Alrighty.
See ya.
See ya.